This podcast is meant to inform, entertain, and occasionally stir the pot in a good way. The opinions expressed are our own, shaped by personal experience and thoughtful research. They may not reflect everyone's views, and we may even offend you. We're just a couple of humans doing our best to advocate, educate, and elevate, one episode at a time. Yours truly, The Bark. P.S. Please don't sue us.
All right, so we are back.
Yeah.
Hi, Candy.
Hello. I love how each episode you give me a nice little hello.
Hi. Yeah, I like you, so
Yeah.
hi.
Accomplished.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah?
How about yourself?
I'm all right.
Long day.
Yeah, you know what? Oh my gosh,
I'm not going to say the T word. I'm just going to say long day. It's been a long day.
Oh, tired. I'm tired. It's fine. I'm not like offended by that. But you know what? Lately, I've been thinking about you a lot, not in a creepy way.
Okay.
But
that's great.
That's great, not in a creepy way. But do you remember that episode when we've talked and you said, I'm hanging in there like a hair in a biscuit or something?
Yes.
Do you know how often that pops into my head? And literally sometimes when people ask me how I am, in my head I'm like, hanging out like a hair in a biscuit. And I don't say it out loud. I don't.
A coworker said that to me one day and I was just like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
What are we doing today?
And again, like I need to know where the biscuits are that she's getting.
Hair.
Yeah, I did just have, so really big tangent, not big, but Hardee's.
Yes.
I stopped at Hardee's recently because someone told me their biscuits were
really
like
good.
amazing.
Yes.
They were, just for anyone who's wondering.
Okay.
Like there's a lot of grease on that bag. It was so good.
That kind of good.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're making a face.
No, well, I mean, I didn't. Some Popeye's biscuits are also greasy.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes a greasy biscuit is really good, and sometimes it's just
I
not.
agree with you.
So.
I think I needed the grease. Honestly, I had eaten, I'm not going to say where I got sick.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I had eaten food that made me sick the night before, so I feel like my body needed
Oh yes,
a good greasy biscuit.
They say when you drank too much,
Yes,
to eat greasy food, and the grease in the food helps to somehow.
I've heard that. I think it's fake.
Oh really?
Well, just based on like my young personal experiences,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
also, I mean, I almost feel like McDonald's made that up. They're like, our sales are low. What can we tell people?
All the people
They found out the fish isn't real.
I would have believed it a little bit better if you said Waffle House, because you get out the club at 2 a.m.
Ooh, the club? Who?
Yeah, no.
Were you going to the club at 2 a.m.? Was I going to a club at 2 a.m.?
I was young at some point.
I went to art school. We didn't go to clubs.
Really?
You're shocked I went to art school?
No, I'm shocked that artists don't go to clubs.
No, maybe they did. I was weird. I don't know.
Okay.
I went to baseball games and I don't know.
Yeah, I think the other artists were at the club.
Yeah, they were. It's okay. We can have a whole episode dedicated to unpacking my childhood if that's what you really want. I don't know if anyone really wants that. But anyway,
Yes.
We're both doing great.
Speaking of underfunded things like college students.
Wait, like our podcast?
Our podcast. We need to get some fundraising going
Oh my
for
gosh,
this podcast.
that was a great segue.
I'm over here like chit-chatting with you from afar. Sorry.
Yes. No, we do.
Yeah.
Like I joke about sounding like more desperate every time, but
Yeah.
I mean, truthfully, no matter how we do this, like we do, need money to operate this no matter how we're doing the podcast. People are like, just do it from your house.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me just talk into my Apple iPhone. Like for, you know what I mean? There are things that
I think on that
we
note,
need.
people don't realize a lot of what we're doing behind the scenes, that we cannot be the everything, all things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm doing a lot of research behind the scenes on certain topics. You're doing a lot of research on other topics. I also help. I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
I help rescues with, I have fosters. I have had 5 fosters in my home. For those of you that saw the episode with Jelly Bean, she just got adopted to a wonderful family with some land to let her run around on.
Is the diaper still on?
No diaper, because she got fixed, so no need for
diaper free. That's pretty awesome.
Yes, and
she's living her best life, Jelly Bean.
Yes, she's got a sister that she instantly fell in love with, a dog sister.
Good.
So circling back, I help the rescues with profiles and other computer admin needs. And I know that you've got a busy schedule with your work and your dogs and your research and things. So it's kind of like we need other people to help us out. And that's why we pay a production company. And we would like to feed the people who run this production company. We want them to eat, and have their livelihood. So that's why.
And we believe in, we get a lot of really positive feedback, I think, about this. So again, even if you're not supporting the podcast specifically, I know there are just things that it would definitely be easier if I wish we had a specific fundraising person, if I'm being honest. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh,
I'm great at fundraising.
I'm great. Yeah. Please let us know.
Yeah.
It's a bandwidth thing right now, I think. And, we're not trying to make excuses. It's just kind of,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. So we're doing our best. But we are back here in this episode. So I'm going to be totally honest, and I think I scared you a little, Candy, with this. Well, when I first brought it up, because I'm like, Candy, let's talk about Farm Bureau.
Yes. I'm a little reserved about putting anybody on the spigot kind of deal.
Right, and here's the thing. We're not putting, and that's why I want to start off this episode. One, we have this beautiful disclaimer that Candy recites at the beginning, which is very helpful. But, I just want to start off. I think I just had read some things that just kind of had me asking questions about, I guess, how the big players in our area, just insurance companies and just other prominent businesses. I was like, how they, I don't know, what their involvement, not even an involvement, but how they could be related to what's happening with our animal crisis, or why do I keep hearing this one company being brought up? Let me dig into this. And so this is just stuff that I've kind of put together, a lot of things that I had found just through media or news outlets, just some articles I've read, and
some overall research.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So it's definitely, I just want to say, it's not us taking a side or anything, but we're this is really interesting to share with people. And then it just kind of, we're just trying to ask questions to drive conversation.
Yeah.
And that's really all this is. So, like I said, I will start off by saying, I have Farm Bureau for insurance.
Yeah,
They are I think they are the largest state. Tennessee is the largest state Farm Bureau, because the Farm Bureau is a nationally recognized thing, and every state has their own bureau, and Tennessee is the largest one. But and I use them; they're great. It was just interesting because I had come across an article that back in 2015 and 16, which is a while ago, the Mississippi Animal Advocacy Group was protesting against Farm Bureau because they wanted stricter laws for animal cruelty, and not all animals, but they were really focused on dogs and cats.
Okay.
Which was kind of interesting because when you think Farm Bureau, you're thinking livestock. You're not thinking the domestic animals.
Pigs, cows.
Yeah. So I thought that was just kind of interesting. So I wanted to look into it. And what they did have to say, and, what they had said at that time was that Farm Bureau was standing in the way of stronger laws because of their relationship with legislators. Okay. And, I've got some more we can dive into. And I will just say that they made that group, the Animal Advocacy Group, had made a revised statement that said they feel the Farm Bureau should play no part in that bill because the Farm Bureau deals mostly with livestock, and the language in the legislation very specifically refers exclusively to cats and dogs. So they kind of backpedaled a little, but they were even protesting. Oh my gosh. My lisp is in full effect right now.
So Farm Bureau pulled back a little bit.
No, the Animal Advocacy Group pulled back, and they're like, wait, we want you to know we're not saying you're the reason that we need laws. Like, 'cause I think there was some misunderstanding there, but they did actually go and protest again in Mississippi. I think it was in 2023. It was in the past couple of years.
Okay.
Again. But anyways, this story I'm talking about, this original protest from 2016. I just watched a video of it, and but yeah, it's from a decade ago. But so I just wanted to start off with that, and like seeing that video and just seeing like, that's interesting, Farm Bureau. Like, and I hear, you know, Tennessee, I'm not from here, you know, but I know that we are, and we're really proud of that. We're such like an agricultural
stronghold
competitor. Kind of. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so we're proud of that. It makes total sense. And so I just wanted to learn a little more about this. And so Farm Bureau, sorry, I'm talking so much.
No, it's okay.
Cut me off.
No, I think, you know, you've helped us to understand the high level situation, but let's take a step back and let's understand who Farm Bureau is to start off.
Perfect. So that's kind of where I'd like to go first. Okay. They're a grassroots organization that represent farmers and ranchers. They focus on agricultural advocacy, rural situations, rural issues. And then they provide member services like insurance and discounts, which is why, you know, little bitty me, I'm not a farmer, but I can, you know, I use them for my insurance.
Right. And we know that farmers can get hit, that industry can get hit so heavily by a variety of things. Disease, the spread of disease,
droughts if we don't have enough rain,
weather, storms, you know, whatever crazy storms are coming up, competitors from out of the country, things like that. It's a very vulnerable community. And employing, you know, finding employees in general. So it's a very vulnerable community. So it's nice to know that there is this organization that kind of
looking out for them.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. And so it's great. So, and like I said, I've appreciated their service.
That's our food source, and I like food.
Yeah, I love food. And every year, Farm Bureau members in over 2,800 counties meet to vote on policies that affect their farms and ranches and communities. And so those policies then set the agenda for their state farm bureaus.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So everyone meets, and then you walk away from that being like, okay, well, in Tennessee next year, here are the policies.
Here's what we're facing. Here's what we need. It might not apply to Michigan. But it applies here in Tennessee.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So some of the key policy areas they focus on, and this isn't going to come as a shock to anyone, but, you know, agriculture and food, energy, labor, all the things Candy kind of mentioned, rural development, which, I mean, gosh, if you live like anywhere with land right now is huge.
In Tennessee, yes.
Yeah. And trade. And so those are the policies they're focused on.
Okay.
So again, when I came across this article about, you know, people like animal welfare groups protesting against them, I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why they're doing that. So, all right. Do you have any questions before I continue?
I wanted to give a little context because I did some reading up on this, knowing that we were going to have this episode. So I'd like to give a little context about what we're saying about this fight between animal advocates. I'm not going to point to that one group alone. I'm sure there's other animal advocates that were concerned, and Farmers Bureau. So the example that I saw was that there were Farm Bureau didn't want certain regulations to be imposed because, for example, it would require a certain amount of space per animal.
Okay.
And
these were regulations for like livestock, you mean?
This was regulations for livestock, which I think, I mean, the measurements that I saw didn't seem too crazy for what we were looking at. You know, I think it was like a few square feet for every chicken, you know, which I'm like, well, I think each chicken should have a few square feet. It wasn't like each chicken should have its own room, you know? So it didn't seem absurd.
Okay.
So, but there was this mix between animal, like
if we put in sheltering requirements for animals, is it going to apply to livestock? Which no, these are separate laws. And so I understand where Farm Bureau might at first say, hey,
it's the slippery slope argument.
It's the slippery slope argument. Absolutely. So I just want to give that example of
no.
But very clearly what you said earlier, you make sure the law has very specific designations, home domesticated animals versus farm animals. I would think that would be enough to.
And then you have to very specifically define domesticated animal, because what if someone's like, well, this chicken is now domesticated, you know what I mean? So I think it kind of opened, like, I can see, like, you just kind of open the can and everything comes out. So I can see, thank you for that context. And so I've heard that stance from them, and kind of like I was saying, Farm Bureau, so their stance has been that yes, they're opposed to animal cruelty, but they have expressed concerns about potential unintended consequences for farmers if laws are broadened to include farm animals, which is the slippery slope we were just talking about. So in an example of this, so in 2017, Mississippi Senator Angela Hill, I guess she proposed amendments or changes to a dog and cat abuse bill that had died in committee. And this bill would have enhanced penalties for cruelty to dogs and cats. And forgive me, I don't remember what the penalties were at the time, but they were looking to elevate them. But she said that their the Farm Bureau's slippery slope argument of enhancing penalties for only dogs and cats will eventually result in more regulations on livestock. So at that point, you're kind of playing the what if game, which you can do all day long. And again, this is just what she said. Like, maybe Farm Bureau didn't exactly say that, right? I'm just pulling this quote from this is what she had said. But the Farm Bureau had said in a statement, they are adamantly opposed to the cruelty, abuse, or mistreatment of any animal. And they would like to see the current law enforced to its fullest extent before adding additional laws, which I actually was like,
good point.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point. We talk about this all the time where people are like, just make a law. Well, that's great. One, we already have one. Or two, like, if we don't have one, like, we need a path for people to be able to fulfill the law.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. When we we already have one. Nashville passed the enhanced shelter law in 2023. And what that looked like before was the law before 2023 was very vague. It just said that the animal had to have shelter. Well, you have these people where the dog is out in like 10-degree weather, literally.
Right.
And the dog is hovered under the bed of a truck, you know, and it's raining, let's say. Ice cold water coming down, and the owner's like, look, he's got shelter, he's under my truck, you know, and the dog has to live like that. So they had to
define shelter.
Yes.
I mean,
so in 2023 it was defined as, you know, basically having an enclosure, 4 walls, a roof raised off the floor, so an actual like little dog house at the very least, you know. The dog has to be able to fit in it. I mean, these are things that we really had to be very specific about. But then the law gets passed in 2023, and I have advocates all the time saying, I called the cops, they won't do anything.
Right.
And I have to what my step is, and what I encourage people to do is search the law, or I'll send it directly to them and show this to the police officer. They probably, this goes back to this conversation that I know you and I have had a million times. Law enforcement officers receive so much training. They have to be trained on domestic violence, speeding, drugs, different types of drugs, and so on and so forth. They have to go through so much training. And once they're a police officer, all these laws pass each year. They don't get an update. I don't think that they're always searching, and I don't think that they're always getting the updates on the specific laws that are passed. Yeah. And when they're receiving these updates, how many are they going to remember?
Right.
What's the
Can you imagine?
Yeah. I would say I have worked in training before in a training department, and I think the statistic is we remember 50% of what we are taught. So if you get
oh boy.
Right. I'll give you a little tip. What I also learned is if you just scan through your notes within 24 hours, you are more likely to retain what you learned. Yes. So I'll throw that out there as a side tip that I learned.
My brain is like exploding right now.
Yes. So if you don't have to restudy the whole lesson, but if you just scan through your notes or your textbook or whatever on what you learned, then your study time at the end of the semester is going to go so much more smoothly.
Wow. Why didn't I know that like 25 years ago?
Right. So, okay. So I'm sorry, getting back to what we're talking about.
I will just say,
yeah.
Well, it's not a fun tangent, but it just reminded me when we talked about redefining, not even redefining the law, but like talking about shelter. I don't know if you've ever looked at a Tupperware bin recently. If you go buy a new Tupperware bin from a store.
Okay.
There's a sticker on it. Don't put your baby in this Tupperware bin.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I'm like, you know that they do that because someone put their baby in a Tupperware bin. Yeah. Like, and listen, that's neither here nor there. But I'm just like, you look at labels and you're like, why did someone have to articulate that? Because someone did it. So it just, anyways, go on.
Yeah. So, excuse me. I'm getting over a cold. All right. So going back, it's not just about getting the law, because not all the officers are abreast of all the new laws, or maybe they don't understand it, or maybe they were taught that law, but they forgot about it with all the other laws that they had to learn. So the best thing that you can do is bring up the specific law, have it ready. When you call those cops, you have that law ready and you say, here's the law. This is not being upheld. Da, da, da. But if you don't have that going on, you still have a lot of officers who will go there and say, what do you want me to do? Yeah. And what do you do with that?
Right.
You know? And you can escalate it and so on and so forth. But how many people don't even realize that law exists nowadays? So there's a lot where, like you were saying earlier, people say, well, just make a law. We made a law. And there's so much difficulty in getting it enforced.
Right.
So when Farm Bureau says, enforce the laws that you currently have,
touche.
Ditto. Yes.
Yeah.
Preaching
to the choir.
Right. We would love to see those laws
Yeah.
enforced. But I don't think the lack of enforcement means don't pass more laws. No. I think the lack of enforcement means pass the other laws that we need as well. And let's just start making room that animals have rights.
And re-examine them, because like we recently, we talk about service animals and the value that animals have in general. And we recently had a conversation with Warrior Freedom Service Dogs. It's like animals we recognize what animals are doing for people. They're saving lives.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like, hey, here's what when you learn new information, you have to respond to that.
Yes.
Like, okay, I will just say, do you watch Parks and Rec? Have you ever watched that with Amy Poehler?
I've seen a few episodes, yeah.
All right, so Candy is making a face like, no, Megan, that's the worst show ever.
No, it's not. It's funny.
It's hard to get into. It's like The Office. You got to get like
it's like
past.
Awkward, yes.
Yeah, so, but there is this, she's running for office, spoiler alert, and and no one likes Amy Poehler. Like, she's like goody two-shoes, but loves her town. I love her. She's my spirit animal. Her name's Leslie Knope in the show, but she was like, they call her out and they're like, Leslie, or I don't know, they say like, you keep flip-flopping on things, and she's like, well, yeah, when I was 6 years old, I thought chocolate milk came from chocolate cows, but then I learned, no, you put chocolate syrup. So I flip-flopped. I noticed, I recognized new information.
We learn things.
So I changed my opinion. Like, but it's just very similar to that. So I think we have to like maybe not be so naive to everything that's changed.
Come up with a plan on day one, and that's the end all be all. No.
Yeah, no. So kind of going back to Farm Bureau. So what we've talked about a lot is like animal cruelty, right? Yeah. So that's just like shelter, how many animals are in a space, and things like that. But so my question is, I started thinking about Farm Bureau's mission, and again, like, just how can we continue to be like a top agricultural producer,
right,
and still have laws that protect our animals? And I think we could, because Illinois does it. Yeah, to be honest. But I started thinking about breeding laws. And stuff that we've talked about, Candy, just how the animal overpopulation, which is a byproduct of overbreeding as well. Lack of spay and neuter and overbreeding, backyard breeding.
Right.
Right. All these animals have an impact on the livelihood of our farmers. We talked about the quality of meat, right?
If a dog
tell
gets
that story
into
again. Oh my gosh, this is such a great story.
So I knew another foster, and she used to let her dogs walk off leash with her, and the dogs were reasonably behaved. But one day she was walking, and her dog took off into a field, and was chasing the cows, and the farmer came by and said, "Do you like steak?" And she said, "Oh, yeah." And he said, "Do you like your steak tough, or do you like it, just to be this nice, soft, tender steak?" And she's like, "Well, I like it tender." He's like, "Yeah, your dog is building muscle in my cows, and that's tough steak.
Yeah.
Get your dog now, and don't ever do it again," kind of thing.
Yeah.
I had never thought about that.
Never.
But also, I see a lot of reports, especially in the more rural areas, of dogs that were stray and got shot.
Mm-hmm.
And people want to immediately, "Oh, poor dog, poor dog, poor dog." And yes, especially if it was kicked out of its own home and it's trying to survive, I get that part. But I also get the part, the farmer side of the story, where it's like, I'm trying to protect my livestock.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to protect my poultry, like whatever the dog is getting into. Or I'm trying to protect my home. We talked a few weeks back about a man in Memphis who died trying to protect his wife from two stray pit bulls that started to attack her.
Mm-hmm.
He got involved that way she could get to safety, and he ended up dying.
Mm-hmm.
The stray dogs are, a lot of the times, yes, they're just fine. They're sweet. Maybe they have something like mange that needs to be treated.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times they're just fine, and they just need a little help to get to safety, to get resources and whatnot. But there are other times where you can run into strays, like I said, that might have mange. Can you imagine a dog with mange getting onto a farm?
No.
And that mange spreading to...
So that is, I'm so glad, like the thinking, no.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking we're so worried about...
Whether to help a dog because it might hurt. You might get something? Is that what you're thinking?
No, we're so worried about, oh my God, did this chicken have a name? Did this chicken sleep on a Tempur-Pedic mattress? How about, did that chicken get chased by a dog with mange? Like, should we be just as worried about maybe the implications of that?
Maybe
they're not equally yoked, but do you know what I mean? Like,
I personally don't worry about chickens and Tempur-Pedic mattresses.
Have you ever seen Portlandia?
No, but I do want my food sources to be healthy and reasonably happy,
Totally.
I don't expect...
I'm kind of mocking.
Yes, I know.
I can't afford to buy chickens who sleep on Tempur-Pedic mattresses.
No.
I buy the ones with no names.
But we want them to be treated. It's like human rights. We want the people who are working in all these companies and producing all of these goods to be treated nicely and fairly.
Yeah.
Why anything that has feelings, emotional or physical, nerve-ending feelings, why would we want them to be tortured their entire life?
Right.
We talk about things like with the podcast about the veterans, cortisol. What do those stress hormones do to the quality of our food?
Oh yeah.
And then when we're eating that food, what does that do to us? So I'm not trying to baby my chickens, but to a certain extent, happy, healthy livestock means happy, healthy people. I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't exactly want to baby them, but I don't want them. I don't want anything to be tortured. Well, that's just humanity. That's part of being a human, and humanity is we've reached to a certain level of we want to be humane.
And I just think it's just so interesting to me because I do agree with that. I mean, even if you've eaten a deer, you can tell if something is gamey. You can tell when it was shot if it was in motion because there's something about. And I'm sorry, I'm not a hunter, but I know some hunters and I've eaten a lot of deer. But I know that it impacts the quality, like the taste.
Right.
When it's running away, that's why you want to shoot an animal when it's still.
Yes, and I have my grandmother is Dominican, and she does not like the chicken here in the U.S. She says it tastes funny. I think sometimes our food.
Oh.
I mean, have you ever traveled to another country? Like I've gone to other countries and I love traveling, but I do have a difficult time with the food because
the meat
tastes different. The wine. No, I was going to talk
What were you
about
gonna
the
say?
wine taste different.
Wait, is the wine better? We should talk about this.
Yeah. But yes, the meat. Sometimes I get a little worried about, the quality. Is it just a different flavor, or is it something I should be like aware of?
Yeah.
So what are we consuming on a daily basis that we're used to that maybe we shouldn't be used to?
Well, and kind of going back to your point about, I mean, I'm not trying, this is not like me trying to start a conversation about like, yeah, your chickens need room to stand up and turn around and touch their toes and everything.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that I feel like those are the things that like we're fixated on that gives it like a special label.
Right.
But I'm like, what about the stray animal population also having an impact, but people haven't thought about that.
I would say, like the farmer's example of the running cows, I would say the possible spread of disease. I mean, these I know we're going and we're being funny about it, but these farmers are facing so much.
Yeah.
So I understand where they want protections, but I also understand where there's some fear of the protections going too far. I mean, how many you go to the egg cartons nowadays and it's like
I can't afford eggs, Candy.
Yeah. Hey, well, you see them in the grocery store and it's like free range, no antibiotic, no.
That's what I'm saying. His name was Ernie.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you.
Yes. So these farmers have to put up with what their consumers want, what advocates want,
right,
what people are doing. When you just let a dog out and let it be a stray, and then that dog catches something and spreads it to a farm, or that dog tries to go and attack animals on that farm. And look, I'm not blaming the dog either. If you're starving, a cow looks real good. A chicken
even if
looks
you're not starving,
right?
A cow looks really good.
So I'm not blaming either side. I'm just saying the dogs, I understand, have a lot when you're a stray dog and you're trying to survive on the streets. That's what people think. They're like, well, it's an animal, it'll be fine. That's not true. It's a domesticated animal. It doesn't have the tools and resources that a wolf has, that a bear or a deer has in the wild. So it's going to be.
I feel like my dog could live in the wild. Dola, she would just eat bunnies.
I think that you adopted a feral dog.
Wait, pardon me?
Yeah.
Can we go back?
From what I've heard, I think you adopted I have a friend at work that we were talking about pets and everything. And he's like, yeah, my cat's a little wild. And he described the cat and where he got the cat from. I'm like, I think you have a feral cat in your house. I
hope my family is not listening because they already do not visit me because of her.
Oh my
now I'm going to be like, yeah, Candy told me she's feral. Great.
I also have a friend that you remind me of because this friend adopted the dog from one of the rescues that I was working with. And I brought the dog to her myself and everything. And the dog has some not so great behaviors, is still not potty trained, like just a little craziness, barking at.
We probably have the same dog.
Men in her home, like including her son. So just some crazy behaviors. And I scratch my head because I have babysat this dog and this dog has never had an accident in my home, does not bark at my husband, just so well behaved. And including this lady's ex-husband will babysit the dog sometimes. The dog does not potty in the home, And I'm like,
oh, this is a me problem. It's me. That's what you're trying to say.
I'm not saying that, but
you are. Your face is saying it. You don't need to say anything. I'm just
saying either you have a feral dog
or it's a me thing. Listen,
or we must look within,
No, I didn't train. Like, this is a huge tangent, but like, no, I didn't. I know. I am well aware. Like, this is my leash trained dog. It's fine.
Well, going back to what we were talking about before, the farmers and everything. I think that's a big message when you let a dog loose.
Yes.
This dog that you provided it food every day, it does not know how to go and kill wild game. It does not know how to survive on the streets. That's why it's best to contact a rescue to surrender your dog. Consider, and a lot of people do drive out to rural areas to let their dogs to dump dogs because they're like, oh, then it won't get hit by a car.
Yeah.
But think about your community.
Yep.
You're dumping it near those farmers who are providing your food. And there's like this whole chain of command. So I'm going to repeat what I've said before. If you have to surrender a dog, carefully consider it well in advance. You contact your local shelter or rescue, preferably a rescue because a rescue can do more with it. You give that rescue time to rehome that dog while it's still in your home because rescues can't find fosters. There's no magic button where there's somebody waiting to take care of your dog for you.
Right. So a few months ago, I saw someone had posted on Facebook, and this woman, she had a farm or she had livestock, something, but she posted this thing that was so kind. And she's like, listen, for X amount of days now, there's been this dog that's been roaming on our yard. I know it lives here. Like, I know it has a home. I'm not trying. She was like so apologetic.
Yeah.
And she's just like, I know, I'm not trying to be that person. And I felt like, you have the right to be that person. This is your livelihood. Like, you have a right to hold pet owners accountable if they're...
So what was she trying to do? Trying to get them to come get their dog?
Yeah, because I guess it had become like a consistent issue where this dog was like constantly on the property with her livestock. And it's just like, but for her to feel badly, and I think that's because we've created such a divide between like...
If you speak up, you're a tattletale, or you're a Karen, or you're this or you're that.
Yeah.
Today I was wondering, Nashville has the hub where it's an app where you can report things in your community. So if somebody dumped a couch, or this or that, you can report if somebody...
The Karens of the world.
I don't feel like it's the Karens of the world. I feel like, if somebody is flicking cigarettes out of their car into the street, you can report that, and they actually send a letter with a little don't litter bag to that person.
But you have to know exactly who did it though.
No, you can submit their license plate number.
Oh, okay.
And they look it up. And
listen, there are certain things I get. I understand.
Yeah. And I saw two black Ford Mustangs racing today, middle of the day, and just like revving up, and it's like you could not see it.
Yeah.
And I know, I made a comment to a friend one time about oh my gosh, people keep going down one of the main streets near me.
But that's a safety issue too. It's not just you know what I mean? There's a difference between like knowing.
Right. When to say something or when not to. But my thinking was, man, when is where I live, when is our county going to get the hub app or something like that? And I said, because the racers I'm tired of, because that is a safety issue. If I'm out walking my dog, and it's happened, somebody on the sidewalk minding their own business, these racers go out of control, and the person on the sidewalk is the one who gets injured or hurt or worse.
Right.
So anyway, I was thinking about that today, is like, when are we going to get that app? And I thought about the whole thing about being a Karen or being a tattletaler. And I'm like, no, we have a right to speak up and create the community that
I think people though have just become so, and that's the thing too. It's like too much of one thing creates another thing.
Right. There's always a balance. But I've also been on Facebook chats where I've seen people who, I'm going to tell a story.
Great.
Last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago now, there was somebody who posted on Facebook saying, every day I'm driving into work, and right by the railroad tracks, there are these dogs that commune there, and I'm about to hit them. Like, I'm not trying to, but they're always running out on the road, and one of these days they're going to get hit, and there's going to be an accident. Who knows who's going to get hurt, The owner responded and said, I'm not going to contain my dogs. I want them to live a free and happy life. And if they get in your way, just speed up. That way they go in an instant and don't suffer when they die, I guess. And I'm like, what an irresponsible.
Yeah, that's just no responsible pet owner.
Yeah. And later on that person did pull down their comment. Like, why would you ever say something like that? But it was it was ridiculous. And I don't think that those people are really sitting down and thinking about their community. If your dog gets hit by a car, that's not to say that the people in the car are going to be okay. I've seen a truck, just like a little, I have pictures of it actually, that flipped over
I remember that.
That hit a dog. It was trying to avoid the dog, but it ended up hitting the dog. The dog did not survive. And the truck flipped over.
Right. So, and if they had Farm Bureau insurance, their rates probably. So again, but no, this goes back. I'm glad you kind of, because we were on a little bit of a tangent, but I think you like inadvertently kind of brought us back though. Because
people are not considering their community.
Yes. And again, like people like insurers, like Farm Bureau, that is something that has implications on members of Farm Bureau. Like if I knew, and again, like that's a little, it's not impacting like your livelihood, I guess. Yeah, because you have to pay for insurance and it's already expensive and whatnot. But anyways, these little things have consequences. And so my question is kind of, because I think, again, we've talked about animal cruelty and whatnot, and that's not where I wanted to take this. It's more like breeding laws. Tennessee has no commercial breeding laws. Right. And I feel like, I just wonder I wonder if we need Farm Bureau to almost, I don't know, for them to kind of recognize the impact that breeding has on their farmers and the animal overpopulation. Yeah, absolutely. Because they are, again, they probably do have a lot of influence on legislation just because of like the industry they're in. Not because they're like bad people, but because I just think it's like a little nearsighted. Maybe, I don't know if that's the right word. Right turn. But you know what I mean? It's like tunnel vision.
I would think that a farmer would have more interest in animals roaming, especially when there is that trend of people coming from the city areas and driving out to rural areas
and developing too. They're developed. Like there was, I think in Franklin, literally, I was talking to the shelter director, and she was saying a lot of the times they're developing in rural areas that are so close to farms that are still in operation, that these new people in the world, like there's just a lot of roaming dogs that kind of don't even have a sense of boundaries anymore, because they come in and develop, and what used to be a field is now housing. So it's just like a lot.
Or what happens when you sell a part of your property and your dog used to roam on that property?
I think that, exactly. So I'm wondering if, and this is why part of our message, like we talk about us having so many different buckets of like our demographic, and farmers are like, especially where we live, are a really big part of that.
Right.
And we need them.
I think they're a smaller group, but they have a big impact.
Yeah. Yes. Their influence is like, it's like quality over quantity, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I would just love to hear from people whose livelihood is in the farming industry, and just like, what do you think?
Right.
I mean, are you impacted as much as, we're reading about stray and roaming animals are, is your meat impacted? Like, how does this affect you?
And where are there synergies? Where can we work together? There's so many different areas where I think advocates are looking to work with just special interest groups like farmers. Where it just makes sense to work together. It makes sense to break down those barriers and communicate. Like you were saying earlier, that the animal advocates pushed and then they retracted a little bit. And maybe they tried to have a conversation. I'm not saying that they didn't try to have a conversation. Maybe a conversation wasn't had in advance or for whatever reason. But I think there's a lot of places where we can like break down barriers and support each other.
And you have to do it the right. Like that's why I think we, our approach isn't just like when LSP first started, it was kind of like, I remember I had someone be like, you should just go protest. I'm like, that's not
you and me, right? On some corner.
Yeah. I'm like,
looking like
what
fanatics.
Does that do? And you know what? I just read, Candy, I wanted to share this with you. Like I just read, I just read something from my pastor actually on Instagram today that was about transformation and like transforming minds.
Yes.
And it made me think of Laws Saving Paws, because it was all about, it's not about how much noise you make. It's about making space for a conversation with someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like us making noise with a sign, like,
or being nasty about things.
Yeah, just very abrasively. Like that's not the way to do it. Like,
no. I will tell you, in rescue, I have gotten a lot farther. Like people will contact me or support me in ways that they will not support others. And I talked about it too. I used to partner with a rescue where the person running the rescue just had a negative disposition.
Okay.
And I had several fosters and adopters that stopped working with her, and they're like, I'll still adopt the dog, but I don't want to speak to that person anymore. And I still am in touch with those people. And some of those people, at least one of them, I talk to her all the time, and she has become an animal advocate. She fosters, she does so much stuff. But I've gotten so much farther in my place of passion, which is rescue, by being positive and being supported. And I am, it's come back to me. I am being supported by people because I've not targeted them or been negative toward them, or I've had this positive approach to almost everything.
Yeah.
Not everything, but almost everything. And I think the same goes with legislation and lobbying. You want to start with trying to be positive. And if you do get to that side where you're just ranting and raving, you just look like the crazy person on the other side of somebody's cell phone.
And no one's, no one's going to receive, no one's going to receive information if they're not mentally, they're not mentally in a place to like understand what you're saying. And that's just life in general when you're talking to someone.
But that being said, if there's anybody on this topic that either firsthand has received pushback from a special interest group like farmers, we'd love to hear your experience.
Like Farm Bureau?
Like,
is that what you mean, Farm Bureau?
Like Farm Bureau,
okay.
Or if there's somebody
farmers in general. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Any special interest group. I don't know. I'm trying to think, what's the Kennel Club pushes back on legislation as well.
Yeah.
If you've had some of these experiences, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you work for a company and are able to talk to us about why some of these companies lobby big time to push back against these laws, we'd love to talk to you too.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to know why.
Yeah. Better understand it. Maybe make connections and have those conversations that need to be had.
I think, because I do think it's, like I said, I just think it's almost naivety on both for both parties, maybe.
Passion. Sometimes we get angry and we get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I remember doing an event with Farm Bureau. Met probably last December.
Yeah.
I went, to their headquarters in Columbia, and it was really nice. It was just like a little networking thing where their employees came down and learned information, and I set up a table. And I remember having a couple of conversations with people about, because they would look and they'd see, Laws Saving Paws, like animal laws and all this jazz. And I said, and I would bring up the point. I'm like, hey, we have an animal overpopulation problem.
Yeah.
And I had specifically a couple of people who worked for Farm Bureau who were like, oh, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
I never thought of the impact. It's just so there's room for the conversation. Yeah. And so I don't know. That's where kind of my mind went with breeding. And I'm like, well, if our voices aren't enough, maybe a big contender, like Farm Bureau, like a big player, I don't know, maybe they could help or give us insight.
I would say any farmers who your property has become a dumping ground, because I've heard of that happening. These certain properties just attract. It's the first farm outside of the city that's on a cul-de-sac or something like that. If you're having that, yes, we'd like to speak with you, but you can reach out to your legislators and you can tell them that the about the problems that you're facing, and your voice is needed. Yeah, we need those firsthand stories or situations, and we need to understand. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's just, I don't think that won't get us sued. I think this is a really lovely civil conversation.
Yes. Yes.
No, it's just asking questions and starting conversations, rather than just making noise. Right. So, I don't know. That's kind of where we're at. Yep. And that was the scary Farm Bureau episode. Yes. Yes. Are you okay? Are you worried, Candy?
I'm good. I think this was a great conversation.
All right. Great. So. Awesome. And we'd love to continue it. So like Candy said, if any of that, if it has personally resonates with you for any reason, please reach out to us. lawssavingpaws.org. You can also email the show at thebark@lawssavingpaws.org. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. I think those are the only two because talk about bandwidth. We haven't had the bandwidth to create more social accounts.
No. I like to.
If you're a social media person that wants to help us do that, you just create them.
What was that email address again?
Yeah. So. The bark at lawsavingpaws.org.
There you go. All right.
But yeah, I think that's it. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening, watching, however you're
consuming our podcast.
Consuming it.
Yes.
Yep.
Speaking of farmers consuming.
Yeah, right. We will talk with you guys soon.
All right.
Bye.